So the day after Halloween was your directorial debut. Have you always wanted to direct?
Yes. Yes, I have. Just found a backwards way to get there, which was kind of coming up more doing content and commercials because we couldn't afford to make a movie. So learned how to do it while being paid to do it.
Nice. That's probably the best way to go about it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Anyway, I
Um,
met Danny when I was 13 in
oh,
seventh grade.
nice. So lifelong friends, huh?
Yes. Yes, we in Kansas, we went up to New York together, and a couple of years ago we moved down to Texas together.
Oh, awesome. So because he wrote the movie, how did he pitch the idea to you?
I mean, early on it was just meant to kind of be a short, and we were in New York. We were going to go back to Lawrence, Kansas, and shoot it because it was cheaper. It's the idea of like in all these like mobster movies and other movies, like there's a dead body, and it's like Joe Pesci just gets rid of it like that. And he was like, "What if you really had to do that?" I know it's kind of a macabre thing to dwell on, but it was like, "What if you really had to do that?" And it was just kind of a weird little short indie about two guys trying to get rid of a body. And so we went to do it. Thank you so much. See you in a little bit. Yes, ma'am. So we went to go do it, and the honest answer is we went back to visit our college town, and we got way too effed up, and we overslept the next day to shoot it. So after that, we kind of realized why the hell are we doing a short if we're going to spend money? And I guess no knock on shorts, like it's an art form, but we just wanted to go ahead and go for it. And by opening it up, it gave us a chance to like really open up the story, so it wasn't so self-contained.
Nice. Whose idea was it to add the supernatural elements?
I think it was Danny, or it might have been Robert Rodriguez when we watched From Dusk Till Dawn. Have you seen that?
No.
It's like this great caper film, and then halfway through, it's like, oh shit, vampires. So, yeah. No, I think it just made it more fun. I think it made it more fun. It's kind of like there's something afoot here, and like I think it's so hard, especially being in Brooklyn in like the early to mid 2000s. Like everybody was doing like really indie stuff, or like we need to have a lot of relationship conversation. Needs to be on a Brooklyn rooftop. We're like, wait, why can't we just bring some supernatural fun into this? Like, who cares if we're not the coolest guys around? Let's just have fun with it. So we did.
I like it. I especially
Thanks.
like the ending with the pizza guy. I just thought that was hilarious.
Oh, you watched it. Thank you.
Um, how was it like juxtaposing the comedy with the horror?
Difficult. It's I mean, you've seen it. Like the tone, balancing the tone was the hardest thing in the world. At one moment, we want you to care about the particular young lady, if that makes sense, like the laundromat scene. We want you to care, but there's also a lot of comedy, and then there's also it's supposed to be a little tense. So yeah, it was a struggle, especially in post, because look, we didn't. I'm gonna blow your mind here. There wasn't a lot of money behind that. So we're gonna, you have like three takes. You have like three takes maybe per scene. So it's kind of like trying to thread it together so it doesn't go all over the map. So yeah, it's hard to balance it.
Um, I liked the jumping around in time. I also felt like that helped with the comedy. But I want to hear from you. Why tell the story out of order like this with a countdown clock?
It's a great question. I mean, it was never double negative. It was never not out of order. So I think part of the thing was to cover as much time as possible in terms of establishing characters. Like jumping back 10 years and seeing how they've been doing the same monotonous shit for 10 years helps establish those characters without having to do like a true narrative jumping through time like that. I
Mhm.
mean, giving the Hayes character, who's it's his girlfriend that's in the tub, like making him have a stupid mustache and a Hawaiian shirt, all of a sudden says, like, "Oh, this was a long time ago," you know. Um, and I think for Danny, when he's writing it, it's just the fun of the mystery. You can really kind of piece it together more, or make it more interesting. Now, look, don't get me wrong; it can be hard to follow. Not because like, oh my god, we're so over your head. Nah, it's just a lot of shit really fast, and it just gave it a more interesting element of trying to piece the put the pieces together of what happened.
I like it. I like it. I did like the countdown clock, because it wasn't like how a lot of films they kind of cut to black and then they do some sort of countdown. I
Yeah.
liked that it was more subtle and it was almost like a blink and you miss it kind of thing.
Thanks. It was definitely over black. It was definitely over a actual clock. It was over probably five other things. We landed on where it is right now.
Oh, nice.
Danny's here.
Oh, that's awesome. I was told
Maybe
he wasn't available anymore today, but
he
yeah.
likes the big. He likes the big time people. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? Oh, there
Yes.
you
Now we can see you too.
go. All right.
Well, it's nice.
Sorry.
We're just talking about how the script was really confusing, and my direction saved it.
Well, yeah, I guess. Not only confusing, boring. Like, can we put this out of order? That way people will find it interesting.
That was your last question. Why not tell it in a linear fashion?
Wouldn't be
I
interesting.
mumbled through some shit. It was Beth me, Danny.
Hey, sorry I'm late. I just got off work. Didn't think I was gonna make it, but since I was close, I'm like, I'll join.
I was in a cab the first half of it, so you're keeping true to form.
Um, so Chad was telling me that you are both lifelong friends. So what was it like working together on a project like this? Was there a lot of fighting? Did it work out kind of smoothly? What was it like?
There's yeah, I mean, I would say it's pretty smooth. There's never really like much fighting. I would say 90% of the time we kind of have like the same ideas. The only time, well, like there'll be like a few moments that'll be like where one person will just be completely like, oh, I don't like. There was supposed to be this moment in the script. Brandon, the other guy in the movie, he can juggle. So at some point, I put in when they're making this guacamole that he juggles avocados. And Chad, I remember that really. He's like, "Why? No, we're not doing that. We're not like he's not." I'm like, "But he juggles. Like, we should just put this in the movie." And he's like, "No, I don't think that's a good idea." I would say 9 times out of 10, we usually feel like we're on the same page. There's not a lot of fights.
The
We
biggest disagreement was the. Do you remember the whole flashback about the blue shirt at the thrift store?
I mean, I still don't like that. You mean
I,
that I'm
I know.
wearing it in the movie?
I was asking Beth if she knew the scene
Oh,
with the
Uh,
cowboy. It's a flashback of like he finds his blue shirt.
it
It's fine.
the
Beth has watched
they
the movie
fell.
today.
It's been a few days.
Okay.
no worries.
Anyways, we disagreed. No, I think part of it too is that in at college we couldn't afford a camera. Um, so Danny had written a play or two in high school. So he did a couple plays in college, and it culminated in this like epic 3 hour like comedy that we did off campus, which is like our off Broadway. But like we learned how to work together in that capacity. We just didn't have a video camera, so we made these very cinematic style storytelling plays. So it wasn't our first rodeo in that respect.
I think it's always going to be better anyway. Like there is instances of too many uh, cooks ruining the meal or whatever the phrase is, but it's also not good to be completely like just one person's opinion either. I think that's also dangerous. Like I think it usually us being together only makes it better. I've come to find.
Nice, nice. Um, so I asked Chad this question earlier, but whose idea was it to add the supernatural into the story? I want to hear.
Uh, I,
I
I
claimed it
guess
was
I
Robert
guess
Rodriguez.
I guess mine. But we had lots of endings, and that was always the biggest sticking point with the script. Was just like, man, like this ending just doesn't quite land. There was no like supernaturalness, and like, and for Dusk Till Dawn was always in our mind anyway, of kind of like a movie with two like different parts, like, it's kind of this and kind of that. And then so that was always in our mind, but then at a certain point we're like, oh, well, why don't we just go full vampire? Because it was almost something, it would like be a thing that we'd kind of like joke about, and then it just became a thing of like, and once we did that, I mean, it was so good that we did. But I think it was like a slowly rolling thing. Like it wasn't always at Halloween, but as it went longer, it's like, well, it's going to be filmed in the fall. We might as well like make it Halloween, and then that was a good idea because we could put extras and masks and stuff, and like it seemed like we had more people. So like stuff like that was just a constant, like as it took us so long to make it, it was just like it constantly evolved. So yeah, so I guess ultimately my idea, but definitely just something I'm glad we landed on. Something he definitely agreed with. It's not, he didn't like not know about it or anything. He's like, oh wait, what is this? It was a conversation that we had. I'm like, well, what about this? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And then I, you know, did a rewrite on it. I mean, there was so many start to finish rewrites on this script.
Nice. Yeah,
Believe
I
it or not.
didn't expect it at all. So it was a welcome twist for me. Um, so Danny, did you know going into this project that you would be the lead, or was that a surprise to you?
Well,
It
Danny,
wasn't a
hey,
surprise. Like day one, like,
Danny.
all right, go. What? No,
Well, you
I always
jump in on
knew.
that, Beth.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go inside. I'm so sorry. I'm losing my phone. So I just got off the plane. I'm gonna have to plug it in. You guys okay?
yeah. Oh, you're coming
Danny
back?
on
You're
it.
saying you're gone.
I'm gonna have to charge. It's about to die in my
Oh,
hand.
okay.
I did first half. You got second half.
Okay.
Sounds good. It
Thank
was
you,
nice
Beth. I appreciate it.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Yes, I always knew, was always self-conscious about it. Uh because you tell people, they're like, oh well, who's in it? And I'm like, oh well, me. And they're like, oh, I don't know if people really thought that. In my mind, everybody thought that. It was kind of a thing of like, we knew we could depend on me. It was tough. I mean, we knew, besides the two girls, we knew everyone in the production. So it was a thing of like, well, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to remember these lines. Like we thought I would do an okay job at it, and I actually don't think the parts that hard. I mean, he's pretty much just like a joke machine. Um, but so yeah, I was insecure about it, and I also don't think it's not something I'm looking to do more of. I mean, I was surprised at how much I hated, or how long it took me to get over like watching myself and thinking of it as a movie versus like that's me. And it like really bothered me, kind of like hearing your voice on tape for the first time or something. Maybe you're like, wait, was that
Yeah.
me? That doesn't. So yeah, well, we always knew. Yeah, I mean, it was never like a fight. I mean, obviously, if like at the time, like James Franco or something was interested, like another actor was interested in the part, we would do that. But since we were going with unknowns, we're like, yeah, he's as good a guy as any.
Cool. Well, I thought you did a great job.
Thanks.
I really liked the comedy. I love the comedy horror juxtaposition. Um, how difficult was that for you to write into the script with the jokes and keeping it a comedy horror?
Um, yeah, I think it's difficult because I think that's a difficult genre. It's one of those things. It's either like once something starts being funny, it kind of like it's how scared are you?
Yeah.
I ultimately think it's a comedy. I mean, there's jokes on every page. We kind of get by on a technicality that this is like a horror movie because of some supernatural elements, but Yeah, I mean, I tried my best to just keep it balanced. I mean, I think any script, even a drama, like has, you know, if you can organically get humor in it, it's just for the best. I mean, but obviously this one was a comedy. We're definitely trying to be funny blatantly.
Um,
Some people think we are. Some reviews out there definitely think we are not. So that's been
Interesting.
something. Yeah, it's weird. That's been a weird the hardest thing to get used to is just like letting this out in the world and suddenly strangers, which of course they have every right to, be like, man, I hate this. And you're just like, oh God, like, you
So,
know, this thing that you work on for so long. But I mean, that's the way it is. I mean, that's, you know, I just got to get thicker skin. I was just maybe not prepared at how like it can like, you know, bum you out. You're like, oh fuck. But I mean, I'd rather some people really like it and some people really hate it than everyone across the board be like, it was okay. Like that would be even worse. So I'll
yeah,
take it.
yeah, because at least you're getting strong reactions, like almost
Mhm.
like visceral reactions, which those are always good.
But I get it too. It's a comedy. Comedy ages the worst. I mean, some of these jokes, you know, now it took a while to make. Some of these jokes I wrote a decade ago, and some of them I don't think are amazing anymore, or like can be a little like cringy or in my mind lazy. But you know, some of them, even the controversial ones, I still like.
Um, when did you film this? If you wrote some of the jokes years ago, when did was this written and filmed?
Well, we filmed it in three parts. We filmed the drive-in parts for 3 days, and we shut down for nearly a year, and then picked back up and filmed for 8 days, filmed the rest of it, besides the cop scene. And then a few months later, we filmed that cop scene in California because it worked out better that way. But so yeah, we filmed it. We finished filming maybe a year or two ago now, probably. And
Oh,
then it was post production. Basically, we entered film festivals right as COVID was hitting, which I certainly don't recommend. But you
oh,
know,
oh no.
no.
Um, that's interesting because some of the other films that I've been watching, they started production during COVID and stuff
All
like
right.
that. So how did COVID affect the festival route?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, luckily, yeah, we didn't have to film in COVID, luckily, but affected the festival route in that so many of the festivals that we got into were virtual, and you
Mm,
know, I it's great that I mean they have to keep these things going, but I mean it's just certainly it's not the same. It's and you know when you're dreaming of going to a film festival, it's not like I mean it's just kind of and they're all different. Like sometimes it would be a festival that was streaming live. Sometimes it would be like if the festival is virtual. You can pick which movie you kind of want to see. Sometimes like one of them, they were like, "Do you want to watch the movie with a group of people while they comment on it, and you can comment on it too?" And I'm like, "Not really." But so it was just kind of it was a slight letdown. But now I can't complain anymore because as we've kind of wrapped up, we've gotten to go to like one or two more. And in fact, we just found out that we got into Kevin Smith's like inaugural film festival he's having in New Jersey. So that'll
congratulations.
be cool. So I don't got any reason to complain. But yeah, initially I was like, man, this sucks. Like it was we got into, you know, 10 festivals, it was all virtual.
Yeah. Even from like the audience perspective, like
Yeah, I
you
can't
you just
imagine.
can't beat the big screen.
And I love movies and I love watching movies. But I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I've never particularly like as a spectator participated in a virtual film festival and probably like it's not on my list to do. So I mean I you know, it just yeah. It was I mean like film, obviously COVID threw a monkey wrench into a bunch of different things, including, film festivals and movie theaters in general. So, but I get it. You have to keep fighting the good fight, and I'm happy that they did, certainly. So to live another day, just bad timing for us. But who knows? Maybe we got into festivals we wouldn't have if they were not virtual. Who knows?
That's true. Yeah, always gotta keep things positive. So now that this project is done and it's now available for the public to see, are you and Chad working on something else? Are you kind of going separate ways for a little bit? Like, I guess what can we expect from you next?
We're always tentatively trying to work on this next project, which is based on real people and a real life incident about this guy that manufactured and sold acid in Wamego, Kansas, and we're both from Kansas, so that's why. But so it's a story about and he went to jail, and he actually just got out during COVID. But writing a script about real people has been kind of difficult for me because I've never done it. It's just like a weird thing, of like what parts have to be true, what parts can you make up. I mean, there are no rules about it, but it's obviously like, well, it's kind of just hard finding, I feel like, well, that didn't happen. I feel a little beholden to that, but also like you want to make it interesting. So it's just been a learning process. And honestly, like I mean, we were so beaten down after this whole making a movie and finally like getting it out. It's been tough to pick up again. But I'm really, I just, that's all on me. I just got to be a little less lazy. So yeah, but tentatively we'd like to work on this Acid King project
Oh,
that
very
no
cool.
one's asked us to, and we don't have the rights to. But tentatively that's what we're working on.
Well, that's cool. Cool. I wish you the best with that. I fully understand the I need to write, but I just can't.
Right. I mean, I don't know who some writers said like, do you like writing? And they're just like, no, I don't like writing. Like I like having had written. That's good. Like that's fun. But yeah, the writings, like pulling teeth. And I agree. For me, it's like working out. Like it's the same. Like you just have to sit down and physically, even if you're like, once you kind of, it'll eventually start coming, but it's like a physical thing to me. But unfortunately, I'm only beholden to me, and I can usually talk myself out of sitting down and doing that. So
Yeah. All right. I'm all out of questions for you.
okay.
So I guess, is there anything else that you would like to add that you want viewers to know about the day after Halloween?
No, I don't think so. I guess if you hate it, just go ahead and keep that to yourself. I only want to hear positive comments on the internet from now on. No, I hope they like it. I hope it's a Halloween movie, so that's the one thing we got going for us. Like I hope, this might be pie in the sky dreams, but hopefully, once a year, like maybe some people will find it here or there, or make some kind of list of like, here's some Halloween movies you didn't know about, or whatever. That's about as high as I think we can shoot for this thing, but I'm optimistic.
Yeah, you should be. You should be. I loved it, so
Oh, awesome.
you got me backing you up with that. So
Cool. Thank you so much for watching it.